Before the punches, before the war cries, there was silence, a storm brewing in the eyes of two men who lived for chaos. In one corner stood Felix Tito Trinidad, the pride of Puerto Rico, elegant, technical, and ruthless in his precision. In the other corner, Ricardo Mayorga, a wild force from Nicaragua, unpredictable and unfiltered, a man who thrived on disrespect and destruction. From the very first press conference, this wasn't just a fight. It was personal. Mayorga taunted Trinidad with venomous words, mocking his legacy, his past, and his pride. But behind Trinidad's calm smile hid something darker, a hunger that hadn't been fed since his return to the ring. As the crowd roared in anticipation, the lights dimmed, and the fighters walked out through a fog of noise and fury. Mayorga strutted in with that signature grin, smoking a cigarette before the fight, pure chaos personified. Trinidad walked in slow, cold, every step echoing like the approach of fate itself. The bell hadn't rung yet, but tension filled the air so thick it could be cut with a jab. The stage was set for war, a technical genius against a fearless brawler. No one knew who would fall, but everyone knew someone would. When the bell rang, all civility vanished. Mayorga came forward swinging like a man possessed, throwing wild hooks that whistled through the air. The crowd gasped at his recklessness, but that was Mayorga's trap. He wanted chaos, he wanted emotion, and for a moment it worked. Trinidad smiled, but stayed sharp, slipping, countering, testing Mayorga's timing. Every jab Trinidad landed drew a small crack in Mayorga's armor. But Mayorga, defiant as ever, laughed through every hit, slapping his own chin, daring Tito to try harder. Round after round, the energy built like an explosion waiting to detonate. Mayorga's shots were heavy, unpredictable. One could end the fight at any second, but Trinidad's eyes told a different story. Cold, calculating, patient. He was downloading Mayorga's rhythm, waiting for the one mistake that would turn everything around. By round 3, the Nicaraguan's face showed the marks of precision. The Puerto Rican assassin was awake. Midway through the fight, the momentum shifted, subtly, then violently. Trinidad began to pick Mayorga apart with surgical accuracy. The jab found its home, the left hook followed like lightning, and Mayorga's bravado began to fade just slightly. Every time he laughed off a punch, another came harder. But still, Mayorga refused to back down. He taunted, he swung, he risked it all, and the crowd adored his insanity. In those middle rounds, it felt like two worlds colliding. Skill versus savagery, elegance versus chaos. Trinidad's punches began to echo, the sound of leather crashing into flesh louder with each connection. Mayorga staggered but refused to fall. His pride wouldn't let him. The commentators couldn't decide what was more shocking, Trinidad's control or Mayorga's refusal to break. Each second dragged like an eternity, the ring turning into a battlefield where willpower outlasted pain. By round 7, the monster inside Trinidad was fully awake. Every movement had intent. Every punch had bad intentions. Mayorga, bloodied but smiling, kept coming, his face swollen, his arms dropping slightly. Then, like thunder cracking the sky, Trinidad unleashed a left hook from hell. It landed flush. The crowd erupted. Mayorga stumbled, tried to grin, but his body betrayed him. The beast from Puerto Rico had found his rhythm, and now he was merciless. Trinidad cornered him, raining down precision combinations that turned chaos into art. The ring echoed with roars, the kind of roars that happen only when a legend reclaims his throne. Mayorga refused to clinch, refused to hide. He was too proud. He swung back, even as his legs trembled, even as the lights flickered behind his eyes. The bell saved him, but only for a moment. The final act came fast and brutal. Trinidad stepped out of his corner like a man possessed, laser-focused on finishing what he started. Mayorga came forward again, swinging wildly, his heart never questioned, his pride unbroken. But Trinidad's timing was perfection. One sharp jab, then a crushing left hook, and Mayorga's knees buckled. The crowd leapt to their feet as the referee began the count. Mayorga rose, staggering, fist still raised, defiant to the end. Trinidad moved in for the kill, a three-punch combination that sealed it. Mayorga hit the canvas hard. The roar of the crowd shook the arena as the referee waved it off. It was over. Felix Trinidad was back, and he had done it in the most dramatic way possible, a knockout that silenced a storm. As Trinidad raised his gloves to the heavens, Mayorga sat on the stool, beaten but not broken, nodding in respect. Two warriors, one unforgettable night.